Darko is here. Okay, so I see that you were going for the camera cuts I told you, and I think it looks better, and I hope that you think that actually looks better because now we can follow the guy in his adventure, and also we can see him better. What is he doing, right? We are trying to get most of our view. That's why we are supposed to put the camera where we can get, like we would say, the most for our dollar, right? So yes, it does work better. Now, what is there to be fixed? Well, there is quite a bit actually to be fixed because simply human body behaves certain ways, and if we are not aware of that, then all a realistic approach can go to the, can drop in the water because we're gonna lose that believability into it. So we have to know first how human body reacts, how it moves in certain for certain tasks, right? When we are trying to achieve something, doesn't matter. Is it running? Is it jumping? Is it hanging? Is it climbing? Whatever it is, it has to look realistic. How we get that realistic look? Well, we have to know how actually in real life the human body behaves in those moments. So that's what we have to go back and actually fix because there is quite a bit of the problems in that area. But as a like a director, right? I think it can be a really nice piece of animation because it's almost like kind of getting the story. In this case, your guy is standing here, but it would be nice also if you would have time. Maybe he kind of runs. Maybe he's kind of like a thief or some kind of burglar or something, So maybe he runs. Maybe somebody actually after him. Maybe it's police after him, and he's trying to escape. So maybe he jumps here, jumps on this garbage bin, climbs, jumps here, jumps up, and that's how he escapes, something like that, right? So it's nice that actually you can maybe build some kind of story out of this. So it's not just a senseless piece of animation, but actually you can have a story, what always helps because actually it makes your animation meaningful and stronger overall, more interesting to watch because suddenly viewer actually is watching not just animation but also story that is revealing in front of him, right? So, okay, I remember I was talking something about this first step. Now this, yeah, you did work on your first step, but it's still not looking good. Like first, just by itself, the step looks kind of weird because look how much he's moving. His heel is still glued down to floor. That is not realistic. Finally, boom, the heel goes up. Then he goes down for anticipation, but this is not really the look of anticipation. This is more kind of like a kneeling in front of somebody, king, or a mafia boss, or somebody, I don't know who, but it looks more like a kneeling than really jumping. Because if this guy wants to really jump, then this upper part of the body would be, more like this, and this knee wouldn't go all the way down to hit the ground. Like this. Boom! Now he's ready to jump up. Another thing is what I noticed with your jumps. What you're doing is this. If you have a ground plane, let's say this is ground plane, and now we have a guy who wants to jump here, is I don't know, balcony or something. Well, if he's standing here, Well, I have to move this balcony. I need more space. So, of course, he's gonna go in anticipation, just as I was talking now. And then he's gonna jump from here. You see, that's the thing, that there is a pose that is needed, and there is no way around, but the legs, they have to be stretched. It's realistically it is that we would have both legs down on the ground with the toes still on the ground, pushing away, with the heels off as much as possible, and the body now stretches as much as possible. The hips are here, the head is here, and now the hands are well, they could be in actually many different positions, but now this is how this character has to be after squash. So we have a squash, stretch, right, one after the other. Now the body goes, the hips are going higher, the body goes higher, and one leg could be still stretched, the other one already goes up here, and maybe like that or so. But we need this one is really important, where both legs or one leg, at least one leg, is really stretched but still in a contact with ground. So when I'm gonna go later on to Maya file, when I'm gonna say about it, that's what I was thinking of when the legs have to be in contact and one or both legs have to be stretched. So this squash or anticipation for jump is strange looking, because he's kneeling here more than really, and then somehow he goes back. You see that? He goes down and then he goes back instead of going. He goes back instead of going forward for jump. That's also strange. The jump seems to be kind of slow. Yeah, it should be faster. It feels floaty. But then when he gets on the down spot, actually climbing looks pretty good. I'm glad that actually you listened what I told you last time, where actually you have to move whole body. You cannot just move the body parts, leg or arm, that you're planning to move. Everything has to move. But at the same time, you still forgot to move feet. And I'm going to be talking about it later on also. So he climbs here. Like, for example, how well? Maybe you can have it a little bit closer with a little bit more zoom in. Maybe, maybe we would see him a little bit closer at that point. Now he goes for jump. Now this jump, I guess it's working, but at the same time there is something kind of strange, where I don't know if I would jump from this position over there, where I know that I can barely make it, if I can make it, right? So what I would be doing, I would try somehow to jump and stretch like a frog. Where would I try to hang on this rail with my arms, right? So that would be kind of like I would think, a natural thinking of how I'm gonna get across, where I would really stretch, and that stretch would really look kind of like almost like a diving for something, kind of like a Spider-Man jump. While in your case, you see, he actually goes backward with the body. When you pull your body back, when your torso is coming back with the shoulders, you are basically pulling your arms back. When you are pulling your arms back, you are going away from this rail. Wouldn't you actually try to get as soon as possible to the rail when you are in half of the leap? That's just my thinking. So I think this is kind of not really realistic, but at the same time, it can be kind of like a maybe cartoony. So I'm not saying definitely not, but you know, like this is fine, this is fine, where the head is going forward is fine, and then this is fine. When the head starts moving back, I would you know, I would still continue with the head going forward, and you know, so that leap would happen like you know, like see, he's completely stretched. Boom, boom. After that, this body starts to drop, but he kind of gets it. But the legs are kind of going actually up. And now he's, you know, he goes down with the head, he's still dragging. Now here we have to have a this moment where actually he kind of hits this part, but that actually stops him. It's only the legs are continuing in follow through. So after this, you know, he goes back, boom, you know, maybe even and now he goes for the what you have here. First contact with the legs, and then boom, he goes for this what you have here. See, I'm just now continuing your stuff what you have. So if you know, if you would go from here, boom, 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 boom. Now that's my version. If you like it, you can try to do something like that. If not, I think what you have, it might also work because it's a little bit more cartoony. Now there is a problem that I'm gonna talk to you about when he is jumping, because like I said, you have a problem with those simple jumps. Like for example, when he wants to leap from here, boom, he wouldn't go straight ahead with the arms. He would go up. Like first, his legs would be stretched, and he would be still holding himself and pulling up at this moment with the arms. So completely push with the legs. Legs are stretched. They are in contact with the rail only with the toes, and the heels are up. So very stretched, but arms are still holding where they were here. And then in that middle area, when he goes halfway, the arms are going up and they grab for the rail again, for the new one. And then he pulls himself up. But again, you see, there is no moment where he's pushing himself off the rail. Like first here, when he gets on the rail, now he should actually go even deeper down, because he needs some anticipation for the final jump. So he has to go even lower down before actually he goes. Oh, okay, sorry, there is something I didn't see from this one. Okay, so he does go lower, and then we would need one pose where this leg maybe is more stretched. This one, of course, already started to go up, but I think probably this one would have to be a little bit more stretched. Now, at this area, he is, I don't know what's happening, he is definitely going too slow, because if you look at his hips, he stops here in the middle of the air. He is not really falling down. You see that? And then finally he just kind of sinks down like in the water. And then there is also well, like first, when he jumps over that rail, I think he has to go a little bit more down in the squash pose after this contact. It should be, that's not enough what you have it here. I would actually, go all the way like that. And then from here, I would recover back up. I'm not sure about even this doing, because it looks like the old guy who is, having problems in his back. I don't think he would do something like that. But again, you're moving only upper part. The hips are not moving, and the hands are also frozen there. So that's wrong. And also, when he starts walking towards the rail, there is no weight shift. That's a troublesome, because I think at this point you should know what's a weight shift, because when somebody lifts one leg off, the hips have to move on the opposite side, so that leg that actually is in contact with the ground is supporting the leg, and the other one, in that case, can go up off the ground. Otherwise, it's impossible to lift the leg if you don't shift the weight. Shifting the weight is incredibly important. You have to understand what's going on. in order to move the human body or animal body or whatever, aliens, to move them around the space convincingly, you know, otherwise it just does not feel right. Okay, so that was my overview in Sync Sketch. It's very small, and for some reason my pencil, although it's number 1, it's still kind of thick. So I have problem with kind of to draw with the more details. But anyhow, I'm gonna open now your Maya and just to go over very fast is that you know, like if you know, I would, before he goes forward, I mean, he can go like that, but when he lifts this leg so much, that this foot would have to go with the heel up. Another thing that I notice is that, look at this, there is no key that is on full number. I don't know exactly what you were doing, but every single key is 39.96 point something else, point 44.95. I think you were maybe playing with a timing, you were stretching your time or something, but you didn't snap it after you were doing that. So this is not correct, because if you are in animation pipeline, these keys would not be rendered, and they simply have to be on the full number. So how you snap it? Well, you have to open your graph editor. You have to select all controls on the character. You have to go in the graph. You have to select all keys, and then you have to go to edit, and you have to look for snap. See the snap? When you click on it, you didn't see it, but actually sometimes you can see how keys moved. A tiny bit, of course, but they just jumped to the nearest full number. So if you look now, I hope that we have, yeah, you see now, we have just full numbers. That's what we need. All right. So again, what you're missing here is actually, it's not that you're missing, but this key should be, this is contact, so the front leg should be more stretched, something like that, and this foot should be more up. Maybe something like that. That's more correct than what you had. So from here he would go in anticipation, but you know, that's definitely not anticipation. This, like I said, this is some kind of kneeling. So he has to, you know, go with his torso. You know, you have to rotate that torso and get this off the ground. Yeah, and then yeah, that's strange. This one is fine, but this leg has to be stretched more. Like that. When he leaps, this foot should be in contact, right? So that's what we need before this. So that, okay. Now I'm going forward, leap, boom. Like I said, from here, actually climbing looks fine. The only problem that you have is, like, for example, you put a foot here on the wall, and then he goes up. Okay, I can't show here, maybe next one. He puts foot here, right? Boom. And now the body goes up. That means it's putting all that weight on this ankle. This ankle together with this heel would have to go down. The moving of this weight up has to affect the foot, and the foot would go a little bit down, right? Well, you know that rig better than me, so you know what I mean. So this heel should go a little bit down because the weight is pushing it down. Now, okay, we go up. You see how much, you know, he works out here. The same goes with the hand. It's impossible the hand will be not affected by this much move. The same like a foot. It has to be affected. Then he leaps. I was talking about that leap. So you can go for this, or you can go with my idea. It's up to you. But as he leaps up, you see, you cannot leave these feet. I mean, the feet cannot leave the rail. They have to stay down with the toes still in contact, heels up, and they're pushing the body up. These legs, they're supposed to be stretched here. And at this, you see how these arms are so stiff because he didn't really do anything with them. At this point, as he is leaping, his arms would be probably still holding here on the rail, both of them. And then even the next one and the next one. So somewhere here, you know, those arms will be, yes, stretched. Maybe here, but not at that. They have to arrive to this point. And then as he, that's also strange. You see the arc that he is creating with his head. How he goes in and out, in and up, out, without even touching the rail yet. So what is exactly changing direction while he's jumping? You know, try to maybe as he goes up, maybe he does not go in. Try to connect maybe this head with this one. And also this is kind of strange. Once when he grabs the rail here, he would drop this down. Well, doesn't look good. I would have to select all controls. I don't have time right now for that, but you know, he would, you know, for once when he grabs it, and then he would hang down. This is supposed to be made as a pendulum, but with an overlap. When he's going forward, those legs are actually okay, I would say. But now, as his body goes back, see the hips are going now to the left. The legs should go still to the right to create overlap on the legs, right? So as his body here, his legs should be still over here. And then as the body goes this way, the legs are going the opposite way. Now he turns around. You see, that's also, if he is hanging on one arm, his body weight would be under, like that, under this arm. It wouldn't be on the side. You see, it's impossible that he would be holding himself away from this hand, right? This has to be under this arm. Again, you should create some kind of overlap with those legs, and maybe give some movement in the spine, so he's not stiff. You see, like in this case, he lifts his leg, but his hips are staying exactly on the same place. Now it has to move a bit so that actually, you see, it looks better, because now actually the hips are moving also a leg away from that rail. Now if he's getting for a jump, you see that? If this is anticipation, I would, you know, you probably cannot stretch it more because of the arms, of course. But now, with the next one, he's supposed to stretch. Boom! His legs are still supposed to be on the ground, on the rail, still on the rail. This jump over the rail actually looks pretty nice. Rump, I like it. It's just that you probably have too many keys here. It just doesn't move. You know, look. Boom, boom, boom. It's still there, still there, still there. Come on. And then sinks like in a molasses. Boom, boom, boom. You know, it has to happen faster. And then after this contact, I would again squash him down more with the legs down, hip down, and rotate forward. And then from that down pose, he would get up. Again, I'm not sure about this stretching, but then as he's walking forward, this is, you know, that's wrong, because look where he's leaning. You see what I'm talking about? It's impossible for him to lift the foot, the leg up, and to lean actually over this leg. This is completely wrong. It has to be this way. Now actually the weight of the body is over supporting leg, and he can lift this one. When he starts walking, this one, leave the foot where it is. Don't slide it. You see, the toes are supposed to be, should stay where they are. They shouldn't slide. He should go kind of like in almost down pose from here, because it's getting ready to go up. And your foot is sliding. Why is this foot here and used to be here? What is going on there? That's not correct. This foot should be here. At this point also that foot should be flat down. I'm not talking about this one, but that one over there. Flat down. That's fine as a kind of up pose. Contact. Now, after contact, what comes after contact? Down pose, right? And contact should be a little bit higher, because at the contact our legs are more stretched. And then what you have is moving only upper part of the body, what is completely wrong. I told you that last time. Do not do as isolated moves. If you have a guy who is moving this way, why not to move him just a tiny bit so it looks, you know, a little bit more believable. You have to move hips for every pose. You cannot just move certain body parts. So that's my overall of your project. So I'm looking forward to see what you're going to come up with the next. All right. Thank you.